Hello, beautiful souls. I hope that when this video finds you, you are not missing me too much since I am on vacation. But I had to make videos so that I could pop up, show up, because you know me, I don't want YouTube to think that I broke up with it. I want to make sure that it understands that I'm still here, I'm still engaging, but every now and then we have to take a vacation so that we don't get overwhelmed, so we don't get overworked, or so we don't lose the joy in what we do. Now, this view from the desk for some may look a little like what in the world, right? But for some it might be like, "Oh, she's making another journal." So I am creating a junk journal. It's a journal. I don't really want to call it a junk journal, but because I'm kind of not going to put a whole lot of mishmash in it. It's going to be this kit that I got off of My Porch Prints. It's going to be a journal. Like it's going to be pretty. I'm feeling it right now, so I'm not feeling like I need to. Not unless by the time somewhere along, because I haven't left yet at the time of this recording. It is Sunday, the week before I leave. But I'm going to take this whole week before I leave, the Monday and Wednesday, and just kind of be prepared because we leave on Wednesday. Um, and listen, for future YouTubers watching this, just ignore the little rabbit hole right now. But I am going on a 5-day cruise, my very first cruise, and never been on a cruise. I've done on like Navy ships, but other than that, not like a cruise out on the water kind of thing for 5 days, and 2 days is going to be on the water. So it's going to be different. And my point in that is sometimes you have to change. Sometimes the weight of doing something different can scare the hell out of you. And that's kind of where I am not scared anymore, because I've gone down the rabbit hole. My scared was more of the not knowing. And so, in preparation for the cruise, I ran across these beautiful papers. Well, they got sent to me, and so I was enabled by My Porch Prince email, which I like because it's been a minute since I've really got an email, and it's just like, oh, I want to use that one, or oh, I love that one. Now, this one, I think because the people have been telling me, Beth, she said she names her um, journals. And because this journal is Be Inspired, and the person that inspired me to like bees or pay attention, not so much as like bees, but to pay attention to bees, is Dawn. So I'm thinking about naming this journal Dawn because Dawn is definitely the person who has taught me all about bees, taught me the difference in bumblebees and all the other things. And I'm just like, I thought I had a love for bees because Mary Kay always, and the Queen of Sales, a diamond bee is their thing. And it's because when you look at these little bitty wings that the bee has, and then they carry this big old body, that's just powerful, right? So bees have always kind of been my little thing. So we're thinking about we're gonna walk into it. We're gonna see if it comes out and Dawn fits because right now I'm thinking about the name Dawn because I was inspired by all the bees and all the things, and even right now on Dawn's channel, she's doing a bee journal, and so I feel like it's just befitting. Let me know by the time you guys see this, and if you relate, and if you know Dawn, the crafty visage, you can say yay or nay. But that's just where I am right now. So that's just the name. That's just if I name it. I'm thinking about that's where I want to name it. Now, normally when people use distress ink, they use I think it's vintage photo. I think that is. But when I was looking at the colors, the vibrancy in these papers, and I was also reorganizing my inks, I looked at Wild Honey. And I was like, that's very befitting. Honey, the bees. wild honey, right? And so I did some little samples, and this one had another color on it, but then I also used I can't think if you can kind of see this one I did around the edge, and I think it was speckled egg. Let's see, I think that's what it was, speckled egg. Yeah, speckled egg. Because of the papers, the vintagey paper look. So I was trying to decide between the two. And I said, wild honey. So wild honey works. And so I am going to be kind of doing a little bit of journal collecting. And this is totally different from my watercolor world, but creating journals, junk journals, art journals is my second fave to watercolors. Watercolor is my number one. Slapping paint on paper is how we heal one brushstroke at a time. I also wanted to show people that doing something different is also how you heal. The normalcy of where your life is right now could be something that you need to change, right? So, when was the last time you looked at your life? Not your dreams, not your plans, but the life you're actually living. So I love the version of me right now. Right here, right now, I'm loving me because I've taken the time from the loss of two children. I've taken the time from pivoting the journey of grief, and I've really, really, really can say that I'm in love with me now, and that says a lot for me, right? Because if you know me and if you heard any of my stories and how I've been down the rabbit hole of life and all the things, right now I'm just comfortable, you know? Not so much when things change, not when the weight is gone, right? Not even when everyone understood me or didn't understand me. Like, it's not about that. But right now, for me, I'm okay. And I was talking to my husband the other day, and I was talking about the guilt that I've had to go through to get here. Like, I felt like I was giving up on some things, giving up on some people. And it wasn't that. I was no longer putting me second or third or even putting me on the list. Now I am first. And I asked the question, do I want to do that? And do I want to do it for me? So much so, even at the time of this, recording, I was navigating through, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And then I just really let one thing take place. I asked one question of one person. The answer was yes. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Then I'll do that then. That made it easy for me because this is what I want you guys to do. I want you to think about doing things for you. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. The honey and the bee. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, we're going to put these up here. I'm going to put some color around them so you can't see the white edges, and looks a little, we want them to look a little used. That's kind of what it is. You want it to kind of look, I'm not a grunge type person, but sometimes I put grungy pages in because I want it to look just like somebody found this in the attic and it belonged to somebody way back in the day, maybe, right? Okay, so how do you feel about the version of you right now? Ask yourself that question. Like, think about it. Like, really, really, you don't answer in the chat unless you're so privy to want to share. If you're like me, you're just over it and you're just like, yeah, I'm loving me now because I wasn't in love with me. I was in love with all the other things that people brought to the table and thought that that was going to make me happy or whatever. But at the end of the day, now I'm loving me. So right here, I'm sitting here doing simple things. Like when I get up, I'm like, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do in the studio? How many walks am I going to take? How many steps am I going to take? I'm not even going to be stressed by, not walking 10,000 steps. Like, it doesn't matter. If I get my 3 miles in for the day, which I think is like 5,000 steps for me, I'm going to be okay with it because, for one, it's hot outside now, and I can walk around the studio and get some very comfortable steps. Or I can walk around the studio until I get my 10,000 steps between the house, the studio, maybe going outside a couple times. Yeah, but my point is whatever you choose to do, excuse me, do it for you so that you can love this version of you, right? Not when things change. We're not waiting on anything to change. I want you to love you right now. If you're single, love you being single. Because I really learned being single and embracing being alone with me helped me to really understand what I wanted in a relationship and what I didn't want in a relationship. And some things I've learned to compromise on because it didn't happen. Or it wasn't something that was a number one, this is a deal breaker. Like getting married again and my husband wanted more kids. That would have been a deal breaker. There would have been no need for us to continue having a conversation because I know what. I didn't want any more kids, not even want to adopt kids. I am the mother of 7 and I've done my part. So didn't want to do that, right? Oh, that's pretty. Okay. So don't wait for things to change. Just ask yourself the question, when was the last time you looked at your life? The actual life that you're living right now. Right now. Okay? For me, slapping paint on paper woke me up. I didn't even realize I was asleep. But slapping paint on paper awakened a part of me that was there. Like when I had my first set of kids, I had to be all things. Like there was nobody to like go to the table and just like, hey, take your sister to the table. The first two kids was the how you say, they were the template to kind of being a mother, even though that template didn't work for that third set of kids. I consider myself having 3 sets of kids, but they didn't work. So if you're listening to this and you're trying to figure out why something is not, while the round circle is not fitting into the square peg, it's because that child is not that other child and they want to be unique in their own way, and you have to figure out how that is going to be navigated into your life. And being the mother of 7, I used my first daughter the kind of as the template, and I used the second daughter as kind of as another template, and then the third daughter came along, and it was just like, wait a minute, she's different from like both of them. And so, but it let me know that the pressure. Daughter number 1 was just the type that could wake up and go take a test. Like she didn't have to study. She didn't have to do a lot of things. And she wasn't mouthy. She was just very, very, very soft spoken. She didn't get upset easily. She had a father's spirit for sure. So that, I thought, that was a good place. That was cool. Then daughter number 2 comes along and, somewhere down the line, she's got all kinds of mouth, all kinds of sass. And I'm just like, where'd this come from? Like, I'm not used to a child that just have so much mouth. Then daughter number 3 came along and she was a little bit of quiet, like almost too quiet. She never really would say what she wanted. She would just go along. And she got that personality I felt like was for me because I was just, okay, well, let's do this. And then that way I know you're happy because we're doing what you want to do kind of thing. So we're the people pleasers. We're working on not being, but I'm better. I'm getting a whole lot better at it. And it's not that you don't want to please people. It's just that I want you to please you first. Okay? So that is why I asked the question about your life right now, not what you're planning, just right now. How do you feel about you? Because I feel like once you're in a place of loving on you, then you show up and you love on everybody else a whole lot better. Like they get a happy version of you. Not so much as you need to be with, be in a relationship, or you need to be, need to have such and such money, or you need to live such and such. It's just that you be happy in a pigsty covered in pig slop and maybe a little bit of poo, and you're still happy. That's the kind of happy I am right now. And I'm just grateful that the Lord doesn't allow me to be in the pig slop I don't have to be out there. I get to be inside, and I get to decide what I want to do and how it looks like, and all things, all things, all things. Okay, so that's why it is. So here's the thing. Welcome to Slap and Paint on Paper, where this is what you get: real talk, real life talk. Right? I'm either going to be slapping paint on paper. I'm going to be finding joy in the mess of a junk journal supplies that I'm getting ready to do. That's what you get. And that's what you get when you hang out with Karen McKoy. So, like I said, today we're just chatting about the powerful thing of loving the life you're living, even when it doesn't look like the one you imagine, right? Now, life after 40, and I will say as I can possibly hear Maddie typing, way over 40, healing from loss, or simply waking up in a season you didn't plan for. This conversation, it's for you. Like I'm gonna touch not so much on a lot, but I want you to understand, especially if you're new to my channel and you're just like, oh wait, I don't know. But I want you to know that I've been through some things, and hence, I don't just get on YouTube and put up videos and put up shorts because it's what I want to do. It's what I've been called to do. And it's the thing that God is just like, people need to know that there are different ways to heal. Now, this is not a no slight to counseling because I am a counselor. I do counseling, I do grief counseling, Christian counselor. But right now, it's just a regular old chat. And if it resonates with you, I would like for you to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe, join the community, and hang out and just let us know where you are on the spectrum. Or, as they say, continue lurking on. Just subscribe and like when you want and when you're ready to dive in and start conversating. Because on Mondays and Wednesdays, we do have live chats. And we do hone in on how we are feeling, first off, as a woman. Now, if you're a man and you happen to be over here and anything I say resonates with you, it's not that I'm not talking about you, not talking to you. It's just that I can relate with being a woman a whole lot more than I can being a man. And being a woman who have lost 2 children, divorce, who, what's some other t-shirts I got? Who has divorced, lost children, what else? Ooh, see, sometimes I forget my own struggles because they're not struggles anymore. They're just badges of my strength. And that's what I've really tried to accept, that I've gone through these things and other people maybe need to see or maybe need to know how to navigate through these things, because Lord have mercy. I stayed in Lodabar, and that's what me and my daughter call it, Lodabar, after my first daughter and granddaughter died. I was there for about 3 years. And then I woke up and started singing a Karen White song. It's like, how did you get here? Because when I woke up after 3 years, I was married in not in a new state, in a new country. And somewhere along the line, I feel like Adam. I feel like, God put me to sleep like he did Adam and pulled Eve out. And I feel like God put me to sleep and put William in my life. And it's like, next thing you know, we're married. And it's like somewhere along the line, I feel like some things that happened to get to our marriage was like, it had to be a dream, because I wouldn't have just in my right mind allowed some things to happen. But sometimes God will put you to sleep in your own life so that you can be blessed. And looking at it on the other side, I have been truly blessed. My husband was sent to me at a time when I needed someone to be there for me, and for me not to be so combative, right? But now a lot of things that was going on, it's just like I don't want to live like that. So fast forward, we packed up and moved from Germany, living in Colorado. Some things were still going on. I was just like, I just don't like this. How in the hell did I get here? Like, I was still singing that Karen White song. How did I get here? Like, how do I allow people to just be rude and disrespectful? At the same time, my daughters and everything would be like, what is wrong? And it was like, as I was emerging, as I was waking up from this sleep, this grief coma, paralyzed from not even being able to talk, not realizing it was just a time when God was just building me up to be a better voice, not for the people who are in my life, but for the people who I were going to touch in the future. Hence, if you're watching this video, you're welcome. I was having family dramas, for having just struggles all over the place, and then you fast forward, in 2019, my son was murdered, and I was mad. Then I flipped over and was like, God, we got to do this again? And God said, no, you have history with me. You already know that I've kept you through the loss of your daughter and your granddaughter. I got you again. And it's just like, I don't want to be gotten. I don't want to be carried. I was just angry, and hurt people hurt people. So when you're hurting, try to be not as public as you probably would normally be, because sometimes people will say some things and they will piss you off, and next thing you know, you are not quoting scripture, but you're probably singing one of the Wu-Tang Clan songs or something about how you want to, I don't know. you feel where I'm coming from. But we're always waiting for the next thing to feel good, to feel really good. But guess what? Healing begins when you stop rushing through the moment that you're in. And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn that people were doing the same thing that they normally would do in my life. It's just that now I woke up and I just didn't want it to be done to me like that anymore. I needed to heal from the trauma of the words, the trauma of the things that not only had happened in me losing children or losing a child, but the fact that somewhere in there somebody thought that, it was a good time to just try to say what they wanted to say and do what they wanted to do, and just be like, oh, it don't matter. But after my son's death, it did matter. I wasn't the same person. I didn't, navigate the same. I was just like, God help me to get through this. But I had anger. I was very angry. So that's what I'm saying. Healing begins when you stop rushing through the moment that you're in, right? And that's what I had to do. I had to stop, acknowledge my bad behavior, because I had some bad behavior. I had said some things, cussed some people out, done some things, and just didn't want to be a part of people's lives. And I just felt like I even needed new friends, right? Not all, but just some. And then some people who wanted to claim me as friend had opened up some doors that I had tried to close, but because they wanted to be friends, now I have to try to navigate through this at a time when it caught me off guard and I couldn't. It's just like, oh my goodness. And so pay attention to the things that go on. So check this out. Here's a journal prompt for you. I want you to write this down. What parts of your current life deserve more appreciation? Where have you been overlooking your own joy? Remember, I just said I did that because I was a people pleaser, and I did whatever I felt was going to please people, and that was how that was. I would take a lot of things because it'd be like, okay, I'll be the good Christian, and I'll just turn the other cheek, and this is just going to be a lesson that I have to learn. And in turn, people just took that as the way we treat Karen, and that's just how it is. But when it came up to make me look like the bad guy for years, I just didn't like it anymore. I didn't like the fact that I was the one being portrayed as having done wrong or having done something bad. And so I just started somewhere along the line. Well, not somewhere along the line. 2024, 2025, I said I was going to live a different life. And remember, I said that healing begins, healing begins when you stop rushing through the moment. So I stopped rushing through those hard moments, right? I started just sitting in them and journaling how I truly was feeling about the way people were treating me. And I accepted my behavior because sometimes those people were treating me the way they were treating me because maybe it was something that I said at the moment that allowed them to do what they did. Okay? You'd have to pull up a mirror and be like, okay, what part did you play in this? And then you go back and you ask yourself, okay, well, did I do that? Or, so have a self conversation. Check yourself. And that's what I do now. It's just like, okay, let's think about this before we respond. Or let's think about this and see if we even need to respond. Right? So that was the part of my life, my current life, that deserved more appreciation. I was more mindful as to what people would say to me, and I wouldn't. I'm not letting it go. And be like, no, I'm sorry. What do you mean by that? Because I might be receiving it wrong, right? Everybody has their feelings. Everybody has their own emotions. So therefore, sometimes you have to check yours and find out, is that what they meant when they said what they said? Because sometimes it's not. And then I would leave the situation like in years past and be like, well, what did I say to deserve that? Then I spend more time saying what I should have did. And I definitely didn't want to do the coulda, woulda, shoulda train. That train left the tracks a long time ago. I'm not going to do the coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm going to do I said this, I said that, I mean it, and I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but this is how I'm feeling about the situation. Now, let's talk about it if you want to talk about it. But if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool too. Aren't these beautiful? Oh, I'm going to do the pages, but I'll do the edges around the pages. Maybe this can just be that kind of video. That me talking and then just showing you how I prep everything for. So let's move this over here. Okay? But I want you to stop measuring today against yesterday's dreams. That's what I had to do. My dream for my family, being the mother of 7 kids, being divorced and being broken up from a fiance that I thought I was going to marry, and all of that heartbreak and all the things and all the dreams. I want you to stop measuring today against yesterday. Don't do it. Because seriously, it's not going to make you feel any better. If anything, I think it might make you feel worse. So, as for me, because when we're over here on Slapping Paint on Paper YouTube channel, we are slapping paper on paper. As Beth say, we're going to be slapping some glue on some paper. In the journal, I'm not sure if I'm going to be slapping some paint on some paper, but I do have some colors that might make the journal. Because did some swatching to see, so we might make some. So we might slap some paint on some paper in this journal. Not sure. But stop measuring today against yesterday. Why? Maybe the dream died, right? My youngest son's father, we didn't get married. Like that was a dream. Like I dreamed that was my dream wedding, right? And it didn't happen. So okay, the dream died, right? The marriage didn't even happen. Or in my divorce, the marriage ended, right? And losing my son when he was shot, he didn't make it to the hospital. So maybe your child didn't make it in life. Like maybe they passed on, maybe they died, right? And you're left standing in a new chapter. Like for me, I didn't even know what that was gonna be like. But I was unsure. I didn't know. I'm trying to figure if I want to do this. I wasn't sure. I was in a place of uncertainty. I was unsure if even I wanted to turn the page. Right? Some days I just pray, God, just don't wake me up in the morning. Just this pain is just unbearable again. And you're doing it to me again. I don't want that. I don't think I want that. Not all over. So it's just one of those things that don't measure today, your today, on yesterday. Because you might be missing out on something pretty great, pretty marvelous, if you're still measuring your today on yesterday. So if I was still equating my life now on what I didn't get married to my youngest son's father, I would be cheating my now wonderful, perfect husband of me. And it took me some time to really realize that, stop measuring what you wanted as opposed to what you have. Because now, fast forwarding years later, I can't say what it is or what it isn't. I think I want to. But I can say what I have now. It wasn't on the train at the time when I was with my youngest son's father, right? I can't even say it was on the train in my ex with my ex because I feel like God has blessed me. Remember, I told you guys God put me to sleep. I feel like after my daughter died, my daughter and granddaughter died, I feel like God put me to sleep and gave me William. William handles all of the things. William doesn't complain about the funky attitude when I do get one. He doesn't complain about the fact that when I do fall in my grief space, or he just doesn't really bother. And I think that's what I needed in my life because, sometimes, and he loves the fact that I have a voice. And both of those exes didn't like the mouth, but I had a voice. And I knew that God was calling me long before I really accepted it. I've been running from God for a long time, long time. I got some Nike shoes that are more woe in than Forrest Gump's. And it was because it's just, I, I had a dream of my life and it did not include ministry. Like, I was like, God, you sent your son Jesus to die for these people. They didn't appreciate that. They ain't gonna listen to me. But it's not for me to preach a word about whatever. It's about me to share my journey and how I get up and get to create joy and smile. And I have fun. So when we show up on Mondays and Wednesdays, and again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. So when I do come back off of vacation and get back in the studio and go live, you'll get notified that I'm back. Because even right now, as I'm recording this video, I haven't decided like how long I'm just gonna be. I'll be gone for a week for sure, almost 2 weeks really. But then that following week when I come back is going to be my family reunion. So I'm just like, how am I going to navigate all of this? And I'm okay with not worrying about it because this is what I want you guys to do. I want you to take time for yourselves. And me getting on here, hanging out with you guys on Mondays and Wednesdays. Now it's time for me to just, go and refill my cup. And so that way I can show up and be all things to you, and again continue to share my journey because life doesn't always serve you a bowl of cherries and a bouquet of roses. Sometimes it serves you a pile of poop. It just kicks your door in and doesn't even knock and say, hey, can I come in? I need to be here. I need to disrupt. I need to tear your living room up. It doesn't even do that, right? So that's, for me, is why joy is important. But this life, your now, is still worthy of love. You're not behind. Remember what I said. You're just becoming. You're someone new. And we can't be the version of ourselves that we were in high school or in college or even in that marriage that you are now divorced and you're out here, you're single in the single world, flip-flopping around, trying to figure out, oh my God, what am I going to do now? It's okay. Just breathe. Don't worry about it. Take it one day at a time. Don't try to rush through it because then you might make a terrible mistake. You might do something that you'll regret. I need to print some more of these pages. And I don't want that for you. Take it from me. Don't fail tests. God will put you through tests. God will put you in some things to see if you're really listening. Sometimes as women, dating, you have to kiss a lot of frogs because you're hard-headed. God is telling you to be still. God is saying, sit still. Go somewhere and sit down. And I'm saying, while you wait, create some junk journals, slap some paint on some paper, create your art journal. What's the other thing I love to do? Slap paint on paper, create junk journals. I'm looking around the studio as I try to figure out what's the The other thing, art journals and junk journals, I guess they're two separate things for me, but mixed media. I get to marry all my loves, art, junk journaling, and they all meet on a mixed media page, right? So if you at this point and you have questions, do leave me a question in the below if you have any questions, and if you have something that you want to talk about, ask about, and you don't want it to be public, my email is in my profile. You can just click on that, or if you're not following me on my social media platforms, they are in my profile, and you can follow me, or send me a message, or however you want to connect. If it's something that you just need to know, gotta know, or it's like, hey, how did you do this? You didn't say how you did this, or he didn't say how you did that, and you haven't binge watched Monday and Wednesday. Reach out. Let's chat, right? And if you're into any of the art that I create, you can go over to slappingpaintonpaper.com, no spaces, slappingpaintonpaper.com. And there are a lot of junk journals, art journals, journals, plain journals with covers of my artwork on it. And yeah. So joy. Let's talk about joy. Joy isn't always loud. So I'm sometimes some of the things that I do as I sip my morning coffee, or I watch my dogs, stretching out in the field while I sit on the porch. Sometimes smearing color across my journal page with no rules, or edging up some junk journal pages to be ready for a future journal. Sometimes the whisper is the miracle. Sometimes the simplest moment makes the loudest, not the loudest, but makes the most groundbreaking response when I'm quiet in my joy. When I'm slapping paint on paper by myself, or just really trying to just navigate over my situation at the moment, that is usually when whatever I'm going through talks to me and kind of gives me a, hey, did you ever think about this? Like right now, literally July. I already have July planned, but I'm in the pause. And I'm in the pause because I don't want to, get burnt out with doing all the things. And I don't want to like be showing up over here on YouTube and just like, oh, I'm just angry right now. I'm just mad or whatever. Oh, that's not what I want. And it's because I'm going to be in the pause. Oh, Lord. I'm making a mess. All to get this piece of paper. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, what does that joy look like for you? I needed this one really, really, really. This is the one that has the honeycombs on it. So I kind of wanted to make it to where you can kind of, it looks like the honeycombs. So what if you didn't need a new life? Like, for me, I didn't need a new life. I needed to look at it differently. Maybe you need to do that. Maybe your marriage maybe you don't need a divorce. Maybe you just need to look at it from a different angle. Maybe you need to focus in on some things. Maybe you need to focus in on you more. Maybe you need to focus in on what you could do instead of saying what he could do or what she could do. Like the lens maybe needs to change. Maybe you need to change your glasses, and maybe they need not be so rose colored. And I'm using that because that's what I needed to do. It's not about what somebody did. It's what part did you play in the doing or not doing, right? And that means maybe changing the way you look at things. Now, I don't jump to conclusions. I don't think, oh, well, that's just her, or that, I don't do it that way. I go and ask people, I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? Can you give me a little bit more of that so that I can be crystal clear, right? Because I don't want to be in the chaos, and nor do I have time to wait for the chaos to end before I get to choose my joy. I want to really be crystal clear about what I'm doing. Even here, even now, right now, right? Doing what I'm doing, I'm worthy of love and beauty because this page is reminding me just how beautiful life is as I really just, you know, slap some ink down on it. I remember I told you we're gonna slap something on some paper. And that's what I want. That's what I want you to do. You know, because sometimes we slap paint on paper just to remember I'm here. Sometimes we do whatever we do for my junk journalers, for my art, my sketching people, whatever you do. Because I do know that everybody that, come to my page is not into watercolor. So whatever you choose to do, right? It's a remembrance, a reminder to let you know that you're here. And you know me, I like to say I'm healing what? One brushstroke at a time. And each brushstroke is a yes to life. This moment is mine. That's what it's doing. So when you pick up your brush, when you pick up a brush, you pick up your brush like this, or when you pick up a pen, your literal one or the one in your spirit. You're one. You're literally one. Right? I'm not waiting to love my life. I'm choosing to love it now. That's what I want you to say. Journal it. Put that down. You're not waiting to love it. You love it now. And I love my life now. I do. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What part of your life are you learning to love again? Or maybe, what's one area you're finally choosing to stop running from? Right? So, as we talk in the comments, remember to heal. Let's live this life we've got, right? Because we only got one life to live. We don't have like a whole bunch of lives. We're not going to be like people say a cat has 9 lives. We don't have life. Now, if you believe in reincarnation, you still don't have the same life. When you're reincarnated, you're coming back as something else, and that's that life. So there's that. Okay, that's wild honey. I have to keep these things up here so I'll know. But let's go do a recap. There's that. And this is a double-sided that I printed out. I'm loving this, but I'm going to print these out again so that I can add them throughout the signatures. And I'm going to do, this side needs to get a little yumminess. I'm going to do probably 4 or 5 signatures. She's still in what do you call it? She's still in development stage. So we've decided we're going to possibly, her name is going to be Dawn. And she's going to be the B. And she has probably 4 or 5 signatures. She's definitely going to have places to journal. So you look at these papers. So these are blank pages where you could possibly journal or you can possibly create. Put your girl on there. Get you some girls. Look, girls, if my color girls don't work for you, get your own color girls and put them on there. I think I'm going to put her in the clouds because I like that. You get to put some art in here. You get to make collages. You get to take, you can do whatever you want to do. Like we could take something like this. Just don't over stress it. Now, if junk journaling, this isn't your thing and you're just like, man, I want to try that, then let me know below. These are the backs of the pages. So when I do fold them in half, that one has, you can write on blank. Look at the honeycomb. These pages are so yummy. It has inspired me to pull out, that's why I pulled out the paint, to see what colors. So I'm loving these soft vintagey colors. And so I'm probably going to do a palette with just these colors because I'm still trying to decide. And then I was like trying to decide what paints I was going to take on the cruise. And I was like, why do I have to choose? I got a bag. I can just take the whole thing. Not looking. We're going to the Bermuda. Going to Bermuda. And you know, Bermuda is, I think, 20 something miles long and a mile across. It's not going to be a whole lot. I'm not doing a whole lot of touristing stuff. I want to just relax. And I really want God to take his time with me. And that will require me sitting and possibly painting. Or just sitting. So I'm not sure. So I want you to answer the question for me in the comments. What part of your life are you learning to love again? Or maybe what's one area you're finally going to choose to stop running from? Like I think I asked earlier. I want you to get it because I really want you to hone in on it, right? And there is something in creating your own joy. There is something in walking in your own healing. Yeah, see, these are all the pages. So these pages will get split. Printed them out on my printer. These pages will get split between the signatures, and I might see. I like the way this one is. I tried to do them like that, but I guess I wanted some blank ones back and forth. But I like this one. So that means when I fold this page, you can open it up, and you'll have somewhere you can write. But what that tells me, and I possibly need to print out some more. I'm not sure. Remember, we're just walking through this. So there's the pie, the bee, that one, that page. I think I showed those already. No, I did. Love this one. I do need to decide what's going to be my cover. And I'm trying to decide if it's going to be either one of these papers or I was liking this. Maybe cut this off and let this be my cover. Because either way, my journal is going to be, these pages are 8. Okay, when you fold them in half, they are 5.5 by, I want to say 8.5. 5.5 by 8.5. Is that right? So that means my journal cover is going to be a smidge bigger. So let's just fold this one in half and see. Because the inside of this one I didn't like. Okay, guys, so I want you to not focus because this is not a process video. I want you to, well, it kind of is. I want you to focus on you. I want you to be you. I want you to be the you, get it, of who you are so that you can show up great for the world. All right, now where's it? Let's see. 5.5. Yep, 5.5 by 8.5, which means my journal cover will be wider than that because you want this to be a little bit wider. And I don't have any covers that are here right now. So I haven't decided if I'm going to take this, put it in a book, that part. Remember, this is just the process. And we're just getting yummed up. And what we're going to do, we're going to definitely have green, this color green. And remember I said we're going to go and probably the watercolor is going to be that color green because it blends. Honey, I'll probably, yeah, I don't know. As I go along, it'll come to life. But these are the ephemerals that came with them. We got some tags. So that means we got tags. We're going to have some pockets. And we got plenty bees for your beeswax. So all of these will get put on something. And that's how it is. I love the cupcake and the coffee because here on the ranch, I've sat on the porch and this has happened to me. I've had a bee come and get in my coffee and I've had a bee get on my piece of cake. So I can relate to both of those. But I will possibly, I haven't decided if I'm going to continue doing a process video for this journal. Haven't thought about it. And so it's one of those things that I possibly can, but I don't know because I tend to show up and do this usually in the most inopportune time, but has nothing to do with recording. So I'll possibly see, maybe we can do a journaling video, maybe a series on creating this journal. Not sure. But I will let you know in the comments, not the comments, but the posts. So keep checking over there on my posts in that section. That's a new community part that YouTube has given us to communicate with you guys, which I love. So that way it can let you know what needs to be, what's coming up, or what's going to be, showing up, and all of the things. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed me just sharing this process, and I hope you enjoyed um, just me coming on to encourage you to not really worry about where your life is right now, and to hone in on loving the life that you're currently living, right? Because loving the life that you're living, even if it's not the life that you picture, can be sometimes better than the life that you picture. Sometimes the dreams can be better. That's all I'm saying. And again, if you are not subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video and you're still here at this point in time and juncture in it, I thank you. I appreciate it. Because without you, there is no me over here. And if there is no me, then, there's no sense in having this channel. But the channel is growing, and so I feel it. I hear the Lord saying continue, and everybody that shows up, I'm very much so grateful, because you could have done something else with your time. So again, leave me a comment on how you like this, and tell me what is one thing in your life that you're loving on right now and you're loving you, and tell me what's one thing maybe that you want to not so much as change, but what is that one thing that maybe you want to stop running from, right? So what is it that you're loving right now, learning to love again? So, okay, here it is. What is it that you're learning to love again about yourself? What is it that is new that you want to love? Or what is it that you want to stop running from? That's how we're going to put that. There we go. All right, guys, it's been my pleasure, and always thank you. And bye. I'll see you next time. I'll see you when I'm coming back off vacation. I'm quite sure I'm going to pop back on here and do a live, because I can't be away that long. Bye.